Story time.
Okay.
So we have these El Paso products here, and you might wonder, what are they doing here? No, they're not our sponsor, but the owner of the company, yeah, they could be. They call us. Ann Mitchell, we have to give a shout out to Ann Mitchell. She read, in case you haven't checked this out, we're in this issue of El Paso Inc.
We're not on that page.
And we're not on that page. I just want to show the cover because the second page doesn't show.
Look at those three beautiful.
We're on this in this newspaper.
Are you guys up there?
Yeah, we're up on the deck. And they did a piece on us, and somebody read it and messaged us on our website and said, hey, love that you guys are showing like El Paso pride, and you guys are really shining a light on the city in a very positive way. And she said, let me send you guys some stuff, just like no strings attached. Just want to celebrate that you guys are doing something cool for our city and with the film stuff. And thank you for that. And, she just said, like, let's connect in the future. And so
awesome.
Thank you for that. We want to give you a huge shout out.
We need more people like you.
Yeah, before we were on our podcast. So go check out this company. Get some great snacks.
It?
Yeah, try it, man.
Paso.
This is full on. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to get some Butterfield Trail Mix.
What is that?
Actually,
What
you're
is that?
getting Butterfield Trail Mix.
I like
with
Butterfield
butter.
Trail. What is that?
This is the Butterfield Trail.
Oh, it's the same thing. Give me some of that.
This is Mexican spice cacao.
All right. You're going to pick one.
Don't talk dirty to me right now.
I got the chip.
All right, yeah. I got a
Pretzel
pretzel
chip.
and a chip.
Austin, do you want to try a bag? With your exclusive
Oh,
camera?
you know what? I tried these. These are pretty good.
Great.
That works, huh? Boom.
So thank you to El Paso
Thank you, so Paso.
for giving us some snacks for the Tower office.
Didn't need to do that, but
We appreciate it. Go check out their
Amazing.
products, buy their salsas. We're tripping out. The salsas have a different street name in El Paso. Right?
Really?
Same with the
Alameda,
snacks, I
Mesa.
think.
Oh, that's awesome.
well, this one was Mexican spice.
No, like the
Cocoa.
salsas.
The salsa.
But like Butterfield.
It just
Trail
says
Mix.
Mexican spice cacao.
No, salsa de mesa.
Salsa de Alameda.
Yeah, pretty cool. So go check it out. Thank you guys for sending us these awesome goodies. I promise you we're going to devour this, if not like right now, pretty soon.
And by
Yep.
we, he means him.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for the partnership here.
Yeah, appreciate
On
it.
with the podcast.
On with the podcast. Cut.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Here we are. These eyes. Yeah. Wow, wow.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Our podcast.
As you may have noticed,
Jason wants to count us down.
oh, look into the Austin cam.
Austin Cam, all right. And we're
Touch
going
me.
in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the
Wow.
WatchTower podcast, e-film review podcast on the Towercast Network. By film lovers, by cinema lovers, for cinema lovers.
I like it.
I hope you do. I hope that's why you're here.
It's fun.
We're here to talk about...
Wait, you don't get paid for this?
No,
No, not at all.
not even a little bit.
Yeah, none of us get paid.
I just said I like it. What does that have to do with getting paid?
Yeah, those are two mutually exclusive
Yeah.
things, dude, or maybe sometimes, Anyways, we're here. We're back.
Welcome back.
Studio, in the hot, scorching studio.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about a comedy. It's comedy month at the
Comedy
WatchTower.
month.
It's comedy month at the WatchTower. We're going to cover
You didn't ask for it, but we're doing it.
Yeah,
Comedy.
actually, people have asked for it, oddly enough.
They didn't.
Yeah. So,
Camera B didn't ask for it.
Camera B did
What about
not ask
camera
for it.
C?
Camera C
Actually-
was all over it, dude. They were like,
Yeah, they
comedy.
were rowdy.
But
What about the homeless guy down the street?
all three of them were asking
you leave
for
Greg
it.
out of it.
You leave Greg out of it.
Some homeless guy scared you right
So it's comedy month. We're gonna kick off comedy month with this special pick. This is Castro's pick, actually.
We like
Castro's
laughing.
decision. We do like laughing. Now, let me introduce my fellow co-host, Mr. Michael Alone.
Yeah.
Don't touch me.
Don't touch me.
What
Hello.
What is Aqua shirt or what did you call it?
It's
Aqua Fresh.
it's a shirt. It's like a nice aquamarine color. It reminds me of
That
the
what your mom
ocean.
told you.
It looks like fish is pissed off.
Looks like something out of Barbie.
And
Something
I'm
out of
here.
Barbie.
And then the great words of William H. Macy, fish fucking water. So,
Exactly, bro. That's all I think about.
that's why we're drinking beer right now.
Speaking of fish fucking in water, we got Mr. John Eric Castro
You
up
fuck
to
fish
bat.
in water?
Whoa.
Yeah.
I am a blood.
I am McLove. We have Mr. Austin Young there in the back, making sure we're sounding great
Oh,
right there.
wow.
Whoa, settle down. And Mr. Isaac Jason Carranza is in studio joining us for this
That's your
episode.
machete.
You know, we didn't do anything to cafe today, so he was like, I gotta go in studio, and I was like, dude, come on, like we're watching Superbad, and this movie is about you. So
We also have another guest who may or may not.
yeah, I don't think he's gonna be on camera, but we have Mr. Eric Sanchez in the back lurking.
Yo.
Yo,
I'm your humble film servant, Carlos Autor, and we're here to talk about Greg Mattola's 2007, right? 2007?
Yeah.
2007 Superbad.
I wouldn't emphasize humble. I would just kind of say humble.
Okay.
What?
That's a performance note. I'll take it.
It's-
Yeah.
Huh?
Hey, we're talking about Superbad.
There we go.
Written by the great Seth Rogen and his producing, writing / everything directing partner Evan Goldberg, who this film is kind of loosely based on. Hence the name Seth and Evan in the film, because it's based on,
Really?
on them. Yeah. Bunch of different experiences in high school, but bunch of fun little facts at this film. Produced by the great Judd Apatow. And
I thought he directed it.
no, it was Greg
it's not
Mattola.
him.
Greg Mattola. Greg Mattola directed for Judd back when he did Undeclared. I don't know if you guys remember Undeclared. It was his follow-up to Freaks and Geeks. And it was a college show. Basically, like, kind of Freaks and Geeks set in college to a certain
Really?
point. Just kind of a bunch of burnouts in college. A lot of the same people from Freaks and Geeks were in that show. Just like a lot of the same people from both of those shows were in Superbad and Knocked Up and 40 Year Old Virgin. So he uses a lot of the same people.
Do you know which was Freaks and Geeks with
Yeah.
James Franco?
Yeah.
And
get around.
Seth Rogen.
It's just an old show. That's
That's where they first
I can
like,
hang.
connected. You can hang.
I'm cool.
We're not asking about your like friend groom dick name. It's a TV show.
Yeah, dude. It's not your
Right.
group chat name.
Anyways, yeah. So
We're back.
Freaks and Geeks is great. And Undeclared, by the way, there's a lot of great little cameos. I think it only lasted a season, but like it's like Kevin Hart's first appearance in anything.
Oh, wow.
He was like a young little dude
Even
in
smaller?
college. Yeah, dude. No, he really did. He played like a Christian kid, like in college, like trying to pass out pamphlets and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Go watch Undeclared. It's actually a lot of fun. But Greg Mattola directed for that show, and that's where him and Judd connected. And then, yeah, he directed this for him. So this film's been in development, oddly enough, for a long time because, believe it or not, Gastos, I know this is gonna like blow your mind.
All right, give it to me.
Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen wrote this thing when they were 13 years old. 13
Not even
in the
high
first
school?
draft. No,
Not even
13.
high school?
13 because they fell in love with the idea of like, what if we made a movie? They made it like a Star Wars spoof thing when they were like 12. They were like, this is fun. Maybe we should consider doing this. And they wrote Superbad because they were like, what if we made a movie? What would it take to write a real movie? And they kind of just wrote all these jokes and what they thought was the form of script at 13. When they were shooting Undeclared, which I think shot from like 2000 to 2002, something like that, they literally had a table read with everybody, with like Seth Rogen playing, with, if it wasn't Seth Rogen, it was a young Jonah Hill, like playing that role, the Seth role.
Well, the show is from 01 to 03.
Okay, so yeah, they had a table read in that time. And Jason Segel, who was in both shows, he was in Freaks and Geeks, and he was in How I Met Your Mother, all this stuff. But he played the Evan role on the table read. And what they discovered was, like, throughout the years, they were like, this shit is hilarious, but it has no heart. And it took, 4 or 5 years. 2006 rolls around. This script is in the Blacklist.
Why?
The Blacklist is an online forum that's existed forever. That's basically highlighting scripts that didn't get produced. The best scripts out
The
there
best script, okay.
that didn't
Yeah,
get
it's
produced.
not a bad black.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was like, what?
So in 2006, this was at the top of the Blacklist. This was like, why isn't this shit getting produced? And lo and behold, they've made it in 2007. So, yeah, there's a lot of cool little things that come before it. And Judd Apatow is already getting, obviously, heat for 40 Year Old Virgin. And
He's getting heat from it?
no, what I mean, he's getting buzz. He's getting
okay.
like, people are excited about his projects again because he didn't really do much other than like Cable Guy. He wrote that film.
Yeah.
And then before that, he worked on a sitcom. No, he wrote for Conan O'Brien, I think, but he was a kind of a TV writer and stuff like that. So this era of Judd Apatow rolls around, and he produced Walk Hard.
Oh,
and
really?
He produced like Drill Bit Taylor, like these comedies that were doing good in the box office
Wow.
and DVD sales and stuff. So they promoted that Superbad rolls around and he's going to produce it. And it got the success it did because of it.
Was Bill Hader already in SNL when this one was coming?
I think so.
Right? This one?
I think so. I think he was.
He was in the middle of SNL. Oh, he looks young.
Yeah.
By the end of SNL, he looked like, straight up comedian. This one, he looked really green.
That and he, I could be wrong, but I think at this point he was already writing for South Park. Because he writes for South Park.
Oh,
Bill Hader.
He does?
Yeah, he writes for South Park.
What?
Yeah, he's always in the writer's room with Trey and.
Even to
the
this
other
day,
guys.
like him doing.
This was kind of early in Hader's career, because he only had Hot Rod, Knocked Up, Yumi and Dupree, and that was about it
For who?
for Bill Hader.
Oh, okay.
This was his 4th, 5th.
Yeah, this is maybe his 4th or 5th biggest role.
Okay. Yeah, I mean. So maybe it was before SNL.
Yeah, it's the same thing like SNL what his years were. Because I think he started in 06 up to 13, 14.
He was there for a while. You're right. But I know
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I think he was already writing for South Park at that point. But anyways,
SNL, he started in 06.
Mm.
South Park, he started after this in 08.
08. Okay.
I'm a big Bill Hader man.
Yeah, he's good. I haven't seen Barry, man. I've never seen an episode of Barry.
Yeah, I'm on the 4th season. I haven't started the 4th season.
Second season.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot. I think he's a great writer. I think he's a great actor. Great comedy actor for sure. And he's a famous meme at the moment on TikTok.
Oh, the whole thing.
Yeah, he's that whole thing's blown up. But anyways,
I wonder if he sees these and
I'm sure he does.
Yeah, right?
I'm sure it's
He's not
gonna
too
come
big to
up.
be
Nah, he seems like a really cool dude. When he participated in a couple of the roasts too, the Comedy Central roasts.
Yeah.
And he's nothing bothers him. He's super laughing at himself. He's good at laughing at himself and stuff. So I think this is going to be approached a little differently, kind of in the same spectrum, right? I mean, what are we going to rate this? Because compared to some of the other kind of great cinema we've covered, comedy is its own thing, right? I mean, it belongs.
Is it cinematic?
No, that's the thing. Because I was even bringing it up to Carlos a couple of times before we started the episode that comedy is not regarded as high cinema.
Well, it is regarded.
No, it's not regarded as high cinema.
You're saying it still is, but not as high.
No, it's just in a weird. It's in a weird spot. You're not gonna
its own art form, comedy in general. So everything from stand up to sketch to comedy films.
I'm trying to think of
they're regarded as high art now, but in their own kind of forum, not necessarily in cinema.
Taking a different sidetracking this. What I would consider a comedy cinema is Tropic Thunder. That pushed the medium forward.
I wouldn't quite say that's
It
cinema.
did. It pushed the medium forward.
What's it pushing forward?
How?
Go ahead. 1, 2, 3.
I'm the dude playing the dude. That's another dude.
He was nominated that year.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a film a crew following these dumb actors and then it's just a big set like The Jungle?
I mean, just because it's original.
Gosh, so that's called the plot.
That's more.
That's called the plot.
That's called I mean, the originality, sure, but I agree with the law. I don't think that even Superbad has for instance, it's a weird spot, right?
You think it pushed the medium forward? For
no, you know what?
I don't define cinema as just pushing the medium forward. That's just not.
Define it more than.
No, but it's weird because I'll almost put it in the, and I could backtrack on this later on, but I almost put it in the same realm of blockbusters, the superhero films,
that's interesting.
in the sense that but hear me out. I think there are these films that have this huge market appeal.
Right.
A lot of people love them and all that, but it's not like they're doing anything right now to push the medium forward. In that case,
I don't know. I mean,
they're using the tools to make themselves really good.
What's really popular in today's age is dark comedy. People are eating dark comedy up. So in terms of the movie theaters, I would classify action comedies in that movie theater sense that you're saying, in that blockbuster sense.
Which are all becoming hybrids now.
They're all weird,
Right. But now, I mean, this specifically comedy, just a straight up comedy. Number one is kind of rare nowadays. But for instance, I'd consider something along the lines of
Hail Caesar.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Hail Caesar, but I guess it is
that a
meant to
straight
be
comedy?
Yeah.
A lot of Wes's are comedies.
A lot of Wes's are comedy. A lot of the Coen brothers are dark comedy.
Yeah, but they're really weird.
But something like 50-50. Is there a 50-50?
Oh, dude, that one was hardcore.
But it's a comedy. By all intents and purposes,
Nah,
it's a
drama,
comedy.
but
It's
it's
a
still a
dramedy,
drama.
but it's more comedy than it is drama.
Yeah, I mean, he's just handling his
You
situation.
know,
pretty well.
stuff like I guess something like Punch Drunk Love to a certain. Well, it's more drama, I guess. But
That's just being objective, though. That's
Wait,
whatever you guys think.
no, that's what I mean.
Didn't
I think in
Harry
terms
Met
of-
Sally?
Yeah, absolutely. I consider When Harry Met Sally comedy as well as cinema. Yeah.
Why?
Man, that's hard to pinpoint.
Oh,
That's
see, that's
super
what I'm
hard to
saying.
pinpoint.
Well, it's because
you know what?
You can go into performances.
I know why.
mean, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. All the arc, right? The arc of the story is fantastic. But
So is the arc for a cable guy? Bro, I'm really like, yo, I'm about to...
no. Listen, I think for me, what defines cinema is something that's going to leave a lasting impact. Rewatchability is one thing, right? You can rewatch a comedy that you saw when you were, you know,
Okay, yeah.
and it's
I
just
feel you there.
like familiarity. It's just like I can throw this on in the background and laugh, which Superbad kind of is. But Superbad is a little, it's in a weird limbo state, man, because it's not quite cinema in my opinion, but it's comedy gold.
Yeah,
It's comedy
And as
gold.
far as like everlasting comedies, like
Right,
we watched
right.
this like a
That's
couple
why
of
I
years
say
back,
comedy
and then we
is
can
its
come
own-
back to it. Yeah.
It's in its own realm. Comedy.
And then I mean,
Even-
some of
yeah.
the other ones that we're gonna talk about. I mean, they're like your pick and my pick
Yeah.
are older comedies,
Which are
but they
considered-
still punch. I think, you know.
I would dare say that those two specifically are cinema.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird, man, but it's in
Yeah,
a,
I mean,
in
you,
the-
you guys see what's going on, right? Just because you guys like those films, probably like more.
No,
you grew up with
no,
them.
No.
it's another look.
They're
They're
just
con-
in a weird space.
not only it's a really interesting place. Not only are they in the pantheon of comedy movies, but for most like film critics and stuff, they're in the list of 1,000 films you should watch before you die, stuff like that.
Okay, well,
We're talking about, by the way, Blazing Saddles and Airplane. They're in that in both
Pantheon.
lists. You know.
me, what I take out of this that is cinematic is that a lot of movies have copied a lot of things.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
that's
fair.
pushing the medium forward. I know it's not. That's just one little.
Yeah. No.
But
Yeah,
it's-
but that's
like you
fair.
said,
But that's also-
unforgettable. You know,
Yeah.
endless quotes. That all pushes the
Yeah.
medium to like, yo, that's cinema. You quoting this thing.
Yeah.
So would you put this on the same list as things like we've
Oh,
talked
don't you-
about?
Give me another comedy. Don't you give me a drama or something, dude.
Fine.
I don't know that he's. Man, I should have picked When Harry Met Sally. That would have been a good comedy. Anyways, that's interesting.
I'm just saying, it's just like
It's because I guess it's weird that like
I
there-
guess it's tonality too, because look, I think, which we're gonna talk about too, funny people. I think
Oh,
funny
yeah.
people's more cinematic than this, and it's the same.
Can you
It's
tell
the
me
same.
exactly? Can you tell me 10 quotes from that one and 10 quotes from this
What
one?
do quotes have to do with it?
Memorable!
Wait, the room is quotable,
This
and
is
it's
this is the era we're living in. Memes. You know, everything's related.
Meme
my
is not
God.
cinema.
No,
That's the complete opposite of cinema. Actually,
Hey, did I finish my?
finish your thought.
No, I already lost.
Go break it up.
No, but look, quotes.
No, but it's part of the movie. It's when you're walking out.
Yeah,
it's
man.
when you're with your friends. Like,
Right.
You know.
I can't necessarily
That's
categorize.
the
Look, because
point.
like when when it comes to cinema, I can sit and watch it by myself and process it and reflect on it and hold a mirror up to myself and up to humanity and society of what this is trying to entail, what commentary this has. This particular film, it's a coming of age film that that is full of dick jokes and trying to get laid. It's not
No, and
necessarily
no,
kind of
That's
a reflection.
like the nitty gritty part, but it's like, you know, teenagers going through the awkwardness.
But you know what's weird?
No, we've all been through that. That's like it's like
What I'll say this is that when I look at movies that I consider, you know, like pieces of cinema,
Yeah.
right? And you see classes that they'll have whole lectures and
Yeah.
sessions on things like, you know, 2001 Space Odyssey, or, you know, we
Right,
talked
right.
about recently about Citizen Kane. And when they break down each of the elements,
Yeah.
it's like each of the elements is at such a high level when it comes to cinematic tools.
And it was intended. Like those films are intended. Here's what I think is a good point too.
I didn't like
Those films or those specific moments are intended to pursue a new plateau in cinema. This, I think, could be a masterclass in comedy film writing.
yeah, they're pretty sharp.
But like, I'm not going to use this as like a cinematography lecture.
No, hell
like,
no.
Okay, no, but you guys
you know.
are saying like, oh, it has to have everything now.
Well,
But
yes, of
No, yeah,
course.
because when we talk about films that we're saying they're all-time 10s, I
They
mean,
have
we're
everything
saying
in
They
it.
have everything in
like,
it.
look at like the Before series. Like we were talking
Yeah.
about how like it's a 10 on cinematography, 10 on directing
In
and
the
writing,
Mood
and
for
10 on
Love,
acting. Like I
you
mean,
know.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
those.
this is gonna be like left field. I don't think there was a lot of. Oh, you're probably gonna hate me on this one. For Shawshank Redemption,
What about it?
was there a lot of cinematography in that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot of symbolism and all that.
Yeah, him crawling out of the fucking tunnel.
Yeah, the gutter,
I mean,
yeah.
the
Even when they're having the
rain,
whole montage with the guy who can't like readjust to like regular life and all that, and
Oh
I mean,
yeah, man.
the
that's
perspectives
fantastic.
that they
Yeah,
give
yeah.
you. I mean, it's very
The
visual.
perspective that they give you of like, yo, this guy had a problem with drawing.
No,
dick.
like there's this whole. I mean, I'll be
It's
honest.
it's meant to draw laughs. It's not
No,
meant.
it's not
Yeah.
meant to draw
Yes,
that.
it
It's
is.
meant to take you guys back to when
Dude.
you guys were that age.
No,
And
even-
drawing dicks.
No, but I'm saying like we all
No,
did weird
but, like-
stuff.
Yeah, no, it's we're not arguing that the jokes aren't gonna last.
No, and I'm not talking about.
Let me
No,
ask you
no,
this.
but-
Let me ask you
jokes.
this. Let me just ask you this. Do you? Yeah, sure. It brings you back to like you.
Yeah, that's one big
fine. That's
aspect.
fine. Do you empathize with Seth?
Yes, all of them.
I
all of them. What do you mean?
I mean, in that scenario, the dick drawing thing.
No, I only because we all did weird stuff.
Yeah.
It's cool if you do.
I did not
8%
think-
of kids do it. It's fine.
See, we got one right here.
No. Hold on. Settle down. We continue to get into this,
Settle
but
down.
ratings. Where are we at?
Are we rating this?
Are
yet?
we? I'm
This is
assuming-
our comedy
You guys
rating.
know
Should
what
we
I'm gonna
not?
say, but
Yeah, because you're right. Comparatively, they're 5s or 6s, right? I mean,
Yeah,
what
I
do you
feel,
mean?
like
comparatively, it's because that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna rate this as a comedy, fine. If we're gonna rate it comparatively with cinema, with other cinema that we've rated, dude, it's
Austin,
gonna be low,
how do you think we should rate this?
if at all. If we don't rate
Like
this, we don't rate
compared
this.
to all the other dramas, or just comedy?
Do what you guys do with everything else. Rate them both ways.
okay,
That's fair.
I like that.
Oh, dude, how can you compare it to
Austin
dramas?
goes both ways.
All right.
Wait for you,
Who
big
wants to
boy.
go first? Castro, you pick the film, so you pick who goes first.
Unless you want to go first.
Rating.
We have to pick it. We have to rate it twice.
Yeah, rate it for as a comedy and rate it as a contribution to cinema.
This is a absolute 10 for comedy.
Okay.
Okay. Whoa, that tripped out off.
Yeah, no, I say it's a 10 because everything I said. Right? The
Sure,
quotes,
sure.
just
The relatable,
It's interesting.
content.
It takes you back. You know, rare movies like do that to you.
Yeah.
Compared to like dramas and like you know.
Yeah, like, are you gonna put this above like any Gyllenhaal
Man, I
performance?
think that's fair, but okay.
Yeah, are you gonna put this next to Nightcrawler, Eric?
Yeah.
No, you're not. That's my point. That's the point.
No. I see your point, but the main thing is
Yeah.
a cinema.
Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, by that classification, any piece of tape, video, everything is cinema. I mean, it's not,
Cinema.
and it's not.
Exactly.
It's
like
not.
2 shows ago, we just said that.
No, we didn't. I certainly did not say that.
Rewind it, bro. No, I
You
guess
said
for
everything
drama,
was cinema.
like compared to everything else.
Could we talk
I
about like
still think-
Sharknado being like cinema?
You talked about Sharknado being cinema. I did not agree with
No,
that
no.
comment.
No, yet it as an example.
Nobody thinks Sharknado is cinema.
Okay, we don't have to talk.
The director of
about...
Sharknado doesn't think Sharknado is cinema.
No, I guess I really did think.
It's a 10 as a comedy, but as a
I
contribution
really,
to cinema.
I still hold it up there.
Okay.
I'll give it a 9.2. I know it's pretty high. I
Oh,
know, I
that's
know.
interesting.
God.
But that's to me.
Go
That's
figure.
my-
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
that's
okay.
You're right. You're right.
Here's what I'm gonna do. I just gotta ask. Nobody else could have played these parts. Are you gonna say that nobody else could have done that?
No, I don't think so either.
Nobody else could have directed this film. Nobody else could have wrote
Well,
this
I
film.
thought it was-
I think Judd Apatow
Yeah.
could have directed
Yeah,
this one. I
okay,
think Seth
okay.
Rogen could have directed this one.
Okay.
Maybe he was a little too young.
Maybe, but he's shown his directing
Oh, no,
chops,
yeah,
man.
for sure.
He's
No,
a
this-
director. He's a good director.
Visually, was this the most stunning thing that
It
you've
didn't
ever
need to
seen?
be too visual because in high school I wasn't like with neon lights and shit, dude. It was perfect for like reminiscing in high school stuff.
Well, to be fair,
Bring it.
this,
No, he's
this,
not done. He's like,
this
come
is
on, bro.
set in the 70s technically to a certain degree. Not really because there's cell phones and stuff, but the style is set to when they grew up.
Exactly.
I mean, it's
Oh, the whole like vest and everything.
no,
that he,
but
Fogel's
everything, the
wearing?
aesthetic.
Yeah.
He has a fucking afro for crying out loud. A Richard Pryor shirt. All this stuff is set in the 70s,
Mm.
80s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? I just.
That's why the intro is what it is, by the way. It's a 70s intro. It's very purposeful. It
Yeah.
is intentional.
That's pretty.
Yeah.
I'm just
See,
saying.
that's why I
like-
hold it up there.
Okay, fine. So it's a 9 when it comes to cinema.
9.2.
Oh
And-
my god.
Okay, no, other way. He gave
Okay,
his.
let me just.
He showed you his. Show him yours.
Let me add a little bit. Because it's one of those films, and there's rare films where if it's on TV or something, I just have to watch it.
Yeah, I agree. I
Just for
agree.
that, and that's
I agree.
for
I
me, that's
agree.
cinema.
When it goes on the TV.
No, see, you guys just
and you're just, folding
Yeah,
clothes.
I
That's
agreed
all
with
you
you.
hear.
I agreed with you, but I
I'm just
don't think
cooking
that makes it
spaghetti.
cinema.
I don't know, not just that. Everything
Yeah.
else is just.
It's 3 p.m. You're cooking spaghetti and Superbad's on
Superbad
TV.
comes on TBS,
Yeah,
so it's
I
all
gotta put
blurted
that
out
on.
Oh
anyways.
yeah, like Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Fox is gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah.
there, and I'm gonna watch it. Huh?
Go
We
on.
done stuff,
Ratings.
bro.
Ratings.
Bastard.
We done stuff.
Okay, like
Don't look at me.
9.2 for comedy and
9.2 for comedy. That's what you're giving it.
yeah,
Okay.
9.2 for
This
comedy.
is the first time you watched it, bro?
No, this is just like
I
second
think
or
this
third.
is the first time you've sat
Yeah,
and
dog.
watched it.
Oh, like analytically? Yeah.
Well, yeah, sure.
Oh. What? That's a word. Open a dictionary. Shit.
You
like
didn't enjoy it? You were just kind of analyzing shit.
we're about to do a
he's
podcast
seen it-
where we
he's seen it
talk
before. He's
about
seen
it
before.
anyway.
Yeah.
And as a film,
Yo, there's something going on the
Yeah,
Austin
what's going on,
cam.
bro?
There's
there's too much going on.
there's too much going on the Austin cam right now,
Yeah, no.
and he's liking it.
We're
I
having
don't
a
know.
super bad time.
Anyways, but 9.2 is a comedy,
6 for film.
6 for film, so 6 for cinema.
Because
Right.
I think it was good, but visually it wasn't doing anything interesting that I haven't seen in any other film. Directing wise, I mean, I think they hit all of their beats really well, but it wasn't like they're going to try to do anything different that hasn't
Yeah.
been done in the medium before.
Okay, I'm gonna put the scenario for you.
Go ahead.
So you're a professor
Okay.
in a top Ivy League school,
Yeah.
and you're about to teach a comedy class.
Yeah.
You want to be.
You're hitting on a point there,
Nah,
Casper. You're hitting on a point that's gonna
yeah,
come bite you in the ass.
60s, like you said,
That's why we're
that's
talking.
what I'm saying.
That's why we're gonna
Nah,
talk
I'm
about
talking- you
Mel
got-
Brooks.
No,
We're gonna talk about Airplane.
You got woke kids in the class. They don't want to see.
Woke?
They don't want to see anything. Before 2000.
No, man. Like, I mean, I that's why I'm rating it high for comedy. Like, I think it's really funny. It's really relatable to
Yeah.
anything that's like a comedy coming of age. I think
Yeah.
hits like a soft spot for a lot of people
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
it's kind of laughing at all these awkward moments when
Yeah.
small things felt like the world to us and,
And
all
it
that.
was
So,
right
yeah.
in the turn where like this was right in the turn where like and Judd Apatow, in my opinion, is solely responsible for that.
Yeah.
Turning comedy. This was a turning page for comedy. Not just Superbad, but the Judd Apatow era of comedy
Yeah,
was
for
a
sure.
turning page for comedy. It was using these taboo terms, these taboo subjects and subject matters, and using fucking like very specific scenarios and words and sexual scenarios, and people not cringing. I mean, I think Knocked Up like broke box office records and shit
Yeah.
like that. Like people were watching and paying attention. So it wasn't.
Isn't a movie considered cinema as well as when somebody tries to replicate it years later as a cult
That's what
classic?
he's saying. I don't necessarily think that's the case.
Yeah, because
I
people
don't.
replicate like I don't know
Well, not replicate. See, you guys use these terms, though.
words.
Look, not only that. Look,
You guys
no.
are using words, and I don't
No,
like it.
like-
Damn it.
Pay no mind.
Superbad.
Yeah, come
There's
on.
different ways to say it.
No,
Come
look,
on, Austin.
the
One
coming
syllable
to,
or less.
coming to Castro's defense here, Superbad kind of like how you bring it up. Superbad set the standard for comedy at the time when Judd Apatow films. It set
Changed the game.
the comedic cinema. Yeah, it definitely changed the game.
Yeah.
And not
By-
only
by
that, you
that-
bring up that it's a good coming of age story, and at the same time, kind of set the standard at that time for coming of age
No, it
stories.
didn't.
So-
I didn't know it.
Yes,
it
it
didn't set
did.
the standard for coming of age films. No.
They've
At
been
that
doing
time, it
They
did.
changed the
No,
game
it
at
didn't.
where
Dude,
it was at in
Superbad came at a
2006.
time where you said that yourself cinema fucking sucks.
Yeah, cinema
And it
fucking
kind
sucked,
of
but
helped
this
it
was-
out.
This was part of that, like
Oh,
like
because you loved
contribution.
it.
I do love it.
And it doesn't
As a
suck compared to
comedy.
other stuff.
Look at like Cinema
You
Paradiso,
compare-
the
look,
coming of age.
You
Oh,
wouldn't-
07, think
you
about-
wouldn't put it aside from the sucky era. of
Wait.
2000s.
Hey, wait.
This
wait,
is
wait,
why
wait,
I keep
guys,
saying that comedy is
let's
its
take a-
own thing. It's
let's
its
take a
own
timeout.
box.
a little tea.
You know, it's its own like section.
Not a big
It's
tea.
and
little
it can break out of its box, which
Yeah,
Superbad does.
little tea.
Well, that's not the point. The point I'm making is that comedy, if it's apples and oranges. You're not going to compare these two.
Okay,
things.
wait. Little tea.
Yeah, they are.
Little tea. Tea.
This game a little too crazy for that all.
Hit your ratings. Let's get Austin's ratings, and then we'll get
Oh, yeah,
into
we
it.
still haven't heard yet.
'Cause
Yeah, I'm in a pretty close spot. I give it a 9 as a comedy, and somewhere in the neighborhood. I'll go a little higher. I think somewhere in the neighborhood of 6.7 for just in general as a contribution to cinema.
Okay.
What's a comedy that you would rate higher?
Stop it. Austin ratings.
Reigns as
I
a
kinda know
comedy
this
is a
stuff,
10,
dude.
and contribution to cinema is like a good solid 9.
Yeah, see?
I genuinely think that you're pushing it down too much just because it's considered a comedy.
I also don't watch comedies.
Just comparatively,
laugh
I've
much.
seen great cinema compared to that.
And that's fine, but again, this is about the contribution that it made to cinema, and at that time, what it contributed to cinema. What you call is a shitty
we're
era
talking
of
about the
cinema.
same years where the Before trilogy came out. You're not going to compare that. You compare this to the Before trilogy, and
You
it's
had
not gonna
one
hold
film
up
from
as
the
a
Patrol
nine.
trilogy come out around this time.
The what?
No, but
You only had one film from the Before trilogy come out around that time.
Yes, it did.
I said only one, not the entire trilogy come out at that
That
time.
single film alone is a better contribution to cinema than Superbad.
Okay, and then that's why that one's a 10.
But it's still in the same. I put it like
the same
No,
era,
man.
not the same
Like-
category.
So that's why that one's a 10, but then Superbad, which contributed a lot to cinema, is a 6.
Yeah, dude, because it's like you trying to compare an NFL quarterback to a college quarterback. They're two different things to talk about. You're not going to compare them in the same league. They're not in the same
It's
league.
still big budget films. What are you talking about?
I don't know that money has anything to do with it.
You're talking about college and football. It's just like bigger. It's a bigger league.
No.
It's
no,
a bigger
no,
league.
no,
It's a separate.
I would've
you're
put
not
comedy
gonna
in
compare.
college.
You're
I
not
would've
gonna.
put comedy in college.
That's why. But you're not gonna compare Tom Brady to a fucking college quarterback. You're not. You're just not. They're different things.
No. It's still comedy will still be in the NFL. It's still,
Eventually.
you still have good players in there.
Eventually, that's what I'm saying. There's
No, but you know what? That's what we've always talked about, the challenge of the rating system being that when you rate something higher, you do gotta accept the fact that you're gonna knock other things down.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the hard
Hold
part.
on.
Yeah.
Whatever we rated a perfect 10 on this podcast, compare that perfect 10 to this. You're really going to tell me that it stands at a 9 compared to that perfect 10?
I know
that
we've talked about
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And
I mean,
again,
like,
this is all
where does
subjective.
Superbad
This
sit
is
on
all
your all-time
subjective.
list?
On my doesn't. On my all-time list, it doesn't. It doesn't sit on my all-time.
because even like comedy wise, you've talked about like
I could very confidently make a comedy list where Superbad would sit at the top of. But in my all-time cinema list, it doesn't sit on my top 30 even.
So you're just prejudiced against comedic movies.
No, I'm
Exactly,
not. But dude,
now we're figuring this out.
look,
Bro.
let's be frank. Most comedic movies, comparatively to other cinematic films, they're not.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
no,
about
I get that.
95% of it, but there's
Oh,
that
also,
5%
I
that...
get that.
you know what I can
wanna
also
answer
say.
this question. I don't know if I have comedies in my
Well, you know what I can also
Man,
say
we-
is
we-
like
I'm
with
listening.
with comedies, there is a matter of like wordplay and how dialogue comes together to like build up a joke. You know, build expectation
man,
and a joke, right?
People would say Goodfellas is a comedy if that helps you any.
No,
As some
no,
people,
no, but like,
some
not
people
a
consider
comedy.
Wolf of Wall Street
No,
a comedy, so
but
it's
like
actually
comedy.
defined as a comedy.
You know what? Look at this. Like, there's a moment when they're talking in the what is it? The car at the beginning of the film, and he's like, "Oh, dude, I'm so jealous that you got to suck on those tits when you were a kid." He's like, "Yeah, but you got to suck on your dad's dick." And like that beat hits so hard and so funny, and it could have been shot anyway, and it would still would have been funny. It
Yeah.
didn't need any other elements of like cinematic mastery other than maybe
Right.
like comedic timing and the beats on the actors.
By the way, I
But-
will say, like I've said this time and time again, and most people who are comedies, Gossett, I know you agree, comedy is timing, and the pacing of this film is near perfect. The
Yeah.
pacing of Superbad is what Superbad has going for
Every
it.
scene, everything. Yeah.
Everything. And you know what I was noticing while we're all laughing? It was 6 of us, right? 6 of us watching this film. Every 30 seconds there was a laugh.
yeah,
Every 30 seconds there was a laugh.
and they knew how to like
Writing was just-
balance it out. Yeah.
But
I
to answer
mean-
your question, Austin, I don't think I have a straight up quote. Chef? I mean, Chef is a coming of age. This
but it's not
kind of-
comedy.
Comedy. full
That's what I
comedy.
mean. Yeah, I don't know that I have
No,
anything
and that's-
like
that's
that.
the thing. I
Again,
feel
they
like-
belong. It belong. It's not segregating, dude.
It can't,
It's not segregating. It's putting it in its own like
You know what? You could
track
have
division. And
you
its
could have
own
these many
Olympic
laughs.
game. It's its own Olympic game.
I was gonna say you could have these many laughs at the same amount of timing and the same time span as like a comedy special. And a comedy special, you don't have
Right.
to do a whole lot
No,
with.
but you guys are
And
talking
then
about comedy special
No,
and
but we're
comedy
talking
in
about
general.
comedy.
By the way,
What about film?
most
That's how you
comedy
talk comedy.
most comedy films are shorter time spans for sure too. Like they're 90-minute movies.
because afterward the gag gets old.
Yeah, and that's just comedy in general. If
Superbad's
this-
an hour 53.
Damn, yeah, this guy's
Like I said, most films are in that neighborhood. That's 20 minutes over the 90-minute line. The 90-minute line. I mean, most comedies, that's where they sit at.
No, they usually sit, like you said, in an hour, 90 minutes.
90
80
minutes. That's what I mean, yeah.
So what's wrong with Superbad being in an hour 50? Just like most films are.
There's
at
nothing
2
wrong with
hours.
that. What we're saying is that most comedies at that point have a shorter time span than the 2.5-hour picture because the gag gets old.
So
That's a fact.
From,
If you-
from what I'm
you're-
understanding, no.
Dude, stand-up comedy is a solid hour.
Yes.
Because after that hour, you're gonna
But
get sick of this motherfucker.
You know what you're doing right now? You're jamming down Superbad to
No, I'm
fit in
not.
with the
I'm
rest of
putting
the
it in its
category
own
instead of
category.
having
Yeah,
it be
okay,
on its own.
So what other boss are there in the genre of films?
Any genre. I mean, it's not really.
No.
I think
It's not really defined as genre. I'm not even pushing comedy down
So
as
where
much
you
as I'm
putting it?
separating it as its
Yeah,
own
like
thing.
I feel like for me,
I'm not gonna say sci-fi is because sci-fi could very well be a contribution to cinema because of its elements that it's trying to explore. It's
2001
thematic elements.
Space Odyssey.
What thematic elements? What mirror am I gonna hold to society when I watch Superbad? I'm not.
The fucking when you were in high school, the 2000s. What do you mean?
We were pissy
I
little
love
shits
it.
who didn't know anything. What is that gonna teach me about life? It's not gonna teach me anything about
Teach
life.
you
It teaches you about friendship.
Exactly.
they left
friendship.
each other at the end. What is
It was
the
a very
friendship
easy
even-
arc.
It was also
It was a
about
very
self-
easy arc.
self-identity.
That was
There's
such
so
an easy
many
arc.
elements to this film.
Dude, they didn't change. Like, if
No,
anything-
they
changed.
actually didn't.
Yeah, they didn't change. They were like little shits, and then what happened is that
You
they
don't
got
think that-
a wall that hit them, where they were like, "Oh, I didn't get the girl," thinking I was just gonna be cool and whatnot. And then at the end, they get the
You
girl.
found one little thing that I thought was interesting that I had never thought about before. It was like, was this a callback to like they're wearing shorts? They're
They're
wearing
saying,
cargo
like, they met at the
shorts.
wall- They met
And-
at the mall drunk again. No, they learned
No,
that, hey,
nobody
this is-
said they were drunk again.
No, but you're saying
And
that
that
they're
look at
learning.
the end, they both looked at each other and they were like, "All
Yeah,
right,
they look
I
at each
forgive
other,
you
yo,
for what
we're
happened."
grown ups now.
Yeah,
No.
we went through a shit night.
It was.
We forgave
Hey,
each
what was
other.
that? What was
How
that?
many
What was that?
times have you gotten
it
in
was
fights
cutting
with your
the
friends?
cord. It was
How many
cutting
times
the
have you gotten in
cord.
fights with your friends and nobody ever says, "I'm sorry"? You just both go like, "Yeah."
Excuse me. It
And
was
then you
cutting
move
the
on.
cord.
Those
That-
people
that
aren't
was
my friends
That was
anymore.
the lesson. Like that was the lesson that they learned here is like, oh, okay, we'll be all right.
I mean,
away
that's
from each
that's
other.
if anything, that was just like the coming of age element. That was
Yeah.
just them going from being like kids who felt like, oh, I'm just gonna talk a lot of shit to like,
Yeah.
oh no, this is serious now. Like, you know, we're transitioning.
Look, I,
So
I,
how
have
is that
these,
not
I
an
have
art?
these conversations. I have these conversations with Eric a lot because even in the horror realm, a horror film could be a contribution to cinema by all intents and purposes. We talk about Ari Aster a lot. We talk about what they call elevated horror now. But he knows how to separate a B slasher thing that belongs in its own thing. It's not necessarily this like thing that like blows your mind. It's meant to be what it is.
Then I gotta ask, what's a good horror film that's cinematic?
Get Out, Midsummer, a fucking
Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse. I mean, yeah, this could go. Some people are categorizing Oppenheimer as a horror film.
It's because like
I would
again,
categorize
when
Lighthouse or
As a horror film?
As a horror?
Yes, dude.
Why is it horror?
Cosmic horror.
No, man, it's about two guys that are going. You know,
It's a
they
horror.
can't live with each other. Like, what part of it's horror?
no, but
The whole entire
Yeah,
thing
yeah, I
is
mean,
based on fictional
Defoe's fucking terrifying in this
It's a black
picture.
and
Like,
white film and that TV ratio.
Yeah.
So,
tight
it's
aspect
like a
ratio.
full-on-
anyways, but
Let me
fine.
Google this.
Even,
Let me
even
see how it comes out in the
that's
thing.
fine. Even if we go into another direction, Midsummer.
You know,
I didn't like
it,
Midsummer.
no, but here's
It
the
was just
thing.
all over the place.
No,
You have the
but
end,
here's
you
the
don't
thing.
anything, like,
Get
down
Out.
there.
You liked Get Out.
When we're rating these films,
Okay, my bad.
no, I'll
Get Out won an Academy Award,
I like Get Out,
Eric.
but how did it?
contribute to cinema.
Yeah,
It
I'm
used-
trying to think real quick. No, I'm trying to think like how did it contribute?
It used the cinematic elements like at hand to make effective social commentary as well
It
as
was
telling
nothing
a
but
horror
social
story. Yeah.
commentary. It's this scary social commentary of like race and class through horror.
Yeah.
I think he just looks down on
That's
me.
massive. Like that's massive contribution to
What are you
cinema.
talking?
Something
So
that's
you
like
don't-
so taboo to talk about in years past, right?
I think you say subjective.
It is subjective. It's
You know what?
absolutely
Like,
subjective.
What do you think, Jason?
What do I think?
Yeah.
As someone who worked at
So am I.
FYE during the making of this
You
film,
didn't even rate it.
what would you rate this film?
Well, first off, I think Castro can be a horror movie actor because I scared the shit out of him earlier.
I'm the guy that dies though.
I had a machete. But what was the question?
What you're rating?
It's
But, like as a comedy
Yeah,
or as a
both.
horror
Both,
film?
Comedy
both,
and
both.
then-
As a horror film?
As
I'm
a horror
grabbing
film,
him.
I'd say it's a 4. As a comedy, I'd say it's a solid 7.
Whoa.
As a comedy,
Yeah.
what would you rate above this in comedy? Like when you're like, this is a perfect
I mean,
comedy.
I grew up watching like Mel Brooks and stuff, so.
Bingo. Right.
But I mean, okay, maybe I'll bump it to an 8.
Okay. Now, as a contribution to cinema, oh, can I get another, please? Thanks, sir. You're right there.
As a contribution to cinema itself, it unfortunately doesn't rank very high.
Why do you? What's your perspective on that? What's
I mean, it's a cool film. Like, it reminds me of, like, well, not my high school, because, like, we were running away from, like, cholos trying to jump us.
right?
It's not my high school.
Right.
But, like, it's cool
Thanks,
seeing,
sir.
like, that aspect of high school films. Kind of, like, reminds me of, like, Dazed and Confused, where you're like, hey, that's
That's
that
an
famous
interesting
person.
perspective, man. I would rate Dazed and Confused a cinematic contribution higher as a cinematic contribution.
I think because it came before, but...
Yeah.
That's true. See, he said something really key right there.
What's up?
Maybe just not enough years have gone by.
For
No,
it to
but
be no,
the-
because
but
it already is defined
we're
as a
still
classic,
gonna be-
right? We define it as a classic, right?
And as a comedy, well, I'll still hold on to it. I still think that there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of relatable elements. I mean, even though like you saw that time's already kind of showing itself with
Yeah.
like the flip phones and like the bad signal and all that kind of
Mhm,
stuff, but like the elements are still there.
Yeah,
of,
it's
like,
not dated. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily dated, and it's
kids in like high school who think like the epitome of life is getting laid before
The,
they
the-
go.
yeah,
into,
yeah.
like,
The
college.
relatability
Yeah.
is fine. I'm not saying that we don't ponder like, yeah, I remember that when I was just thinking about pussy growing up. That's fine, but I don't know that it has any type of like. Again, like when I define cinema, I think it's a reflection either on yourself, on
Right.
society, on humanity at its either the human condition or humanity as itself on this cosmic level. I don't necessarily think that Superbad does that. I think
Also-
it's very intense. Like we talk about intention a lot. This and the intention of this film was to get laughs first and foremost. The intention is to get laughs. That's
First
fine.
and foremost, yeah.
That's great. This is the number one objective of this film. The second objective is to give it some heart, right? To give it a heart to heart
you
for
care
friendship.
about it.
So you care about these characters, so you're willing to follow them because, for instance, something that came out in these same kind of realms are the what I would kind of define as the bad American Pie films, right? Same intention, get laughs, have some heart and friendship in there.
Austin, he just
No,
compared
those were just
American
to show
Pie with Superbad.
naked women.
How the hell did
The
you
new
compare
ones, that's all they
Superbad
were.
with American Pie?
No, he's talking about the new ones like Beta House, Naked
Yeah.
Mile. Those were just to show naked women. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But look, by your definition, let's talk
I
about the
don't
first
remember
American
any
Pie.
quotes from there.
No. Let's
It's
talk
nothing
about the first
relatable.
American Pie. It's not about quotes. Jeez.
No, it has to do some to a certain degree
Look,
of
yeah.
percentage.
The first American Pie, bunch of high school kids trying to get laid before prom, using puns every other sentence, having the what's the Stifler character be the offset comic relief.
Austin, what's the only thing you remember about American Pie?
There's a couple things.
By the way, those two directors went on to get fucking Academy Award nominations, so it's not
There's
that.
multiple things you remember about the original American Pie.
Yeah.
But he originally wasn't talking about the original. He was
No,
talking
but
about the-
my
yeah,
point
yeah,
with
yeah,
that is
yeah.
that format, by your guys' definition, was explored 3 years before Superbad.
But it
You
wasn't as memorable. It wasn't as quotable. It wasn't as relatable. It wasn't so many things. That
No,
bring
but
back-
I mean when.
this is like high school kids getting drunk and stuff. Like, no, this one was like, we
And
all went through
that's
this.
why
Well,
it'll
fucking-
maintain its level in comedy
Right,
as
right.
being
Yeah,
good
as
comedy.
a comedy.
But, like, when
as
I-
a contribution to some, I would rate this higher than an American Pie. You're right. You're absolutely right. My point is that format was explored.
No.
The coming of age, high school students trying to get laid, that has been
No,
explored.
that's presents
You
forever.
know?
But this was the one that like topped them all and changed
No,
the game.
but-
That other comedy started to. Okay,
Let me add
I'm
this in.
influenced by this movie.
Let
Yeah.
me add this in. Whenever I'm considering my ratings for films, and I'm
Yeah.
also looking at it on its, cinematic contributions,
Yeah.
kind of like we start off every episode by saying like what perspective we're coming in from.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When I look at it from like a cinematography perspective, and I look at other films, I can see that this one didn't do a whole lot in that art form, and because it doesn't do a whole lot there, I can't say it's going to rate higher than other things that have contributed to the art of
Yeah.
cinematography.
Look,
and
the best
that
way
place in
the
cinema.
best way I can put this, and I swear I'm not like comparing, and you're gonna hate me for this,
Already
and
hate
that's fine. I understand. It when you're comparing art, right? Like paintings, like physical art, right?
Right.
And I'm gonna go see a Monet. I'm gonna go see something in the museum, versus reading a comic book. Comic book is not lesser art. It's art, but it's its own category of art. I'm not gonna compare the two because a painting is going to say so much commentary on whatever it's trying to comment on. A comic book has its intent to like get readers to read and have this cool arc within this thing basically for kids to a certain point, right?
Let me elaborate on that. And then also to get book funding to make a big budget film because those things were so inspiring from a comic book.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
those
And those are exactly the types of
But-
films that we don't consider cinema. That's
Okay,
not. That's a
well,
whole
what I'm saying.
tangent. That's a whole other tangent.
You're trying to sugarcoat it. Like, no, this is a whole-
That's a whole other tangent. But
also
what
look
I'm
at the
saying
fact
is
that like the high end paintings are the ones that they're trying to mimic those shots
I
in
get these-
cinematic
these-
masterpieces.
that's what I'm saying.
I
I just think they belong in different categories
I don't.
in general.
Is that
I
going to
don't.
be the
Because you
comedy
know
one?
this, and everybody around me knows this. I hold comedy in very high regard.
You do.
When it comes to comedy as an art format, it's its own thing.
No, that's true, that's
Jeez,
true.
man, it's one of the most elevated forms of writing, of art, of everything.
And I know a lot of that.
It's its
I know
own
that
thing.
about you.
it has
but
its own challenge?
In terms of cinema, in terms of talking about the visual medium that we're discussing, I didn't walk out of a screening of In the Mood for Love feeling the same way I felt about Superbad. I just didn't. It just In the Mood for Love blew my mind on you know what I mean? Yeah.
I know, I understand what you're trying to say, but I'm just
That's my
saying,
point. But I know you as an like avid comedy film lover are gonna be like, no, this is where it's at for me. This is like comedy is really.
Wait, so then are you basing your rating on what it did for cinema or what you just personally think it did
I'm
for
basing
cinema?
on both. I mean, ultimately, what it did for cinema. Again, if I'm
Because the
walking,
points that you're bringing up make it seem
You know
like
what it did
it's
for
what
cinema?
you think it did.
I'll go back
that's
to
my
first.
point. But that's what cinema does. Period. You're not gonna tell me that when you watch something like In the Mood for Love, or the Before trilogy, or whatever, or Citizen Kane, you're gonna tell me that it has a cinema. So you rated Citizen Kane as a 10, dude. You're gonna tell me that Superbad has one less cinematic
And
value,
it's
Two
what it
very
did for
different
cinema, I
experiences.
think.
I left-
and it's what?
And what it did for cinema, yeah, I think it's.
What are you talking about?
I wouldn't say that. I just
So
that
you
was
don't
just
think
me.
after Superbad, a lot of fucking films started implementing more fucking comedy into it? Just
A lot of
Okay, we're
comedy
talking about
films.
comedy.
What
We're
do you
talking
mean?
about joke writing. We're
Yeah.
talking about maybe the timing and beats and all that. We're not talking about
let me put it to you
cinematography,
this way.
directing,
Let me
writing,
put it to you
acting.
This way. Let's talk
No,
about
it
editing.
doesn't have to be all that.
Let's
It
talk
doesn't
about
have
comedy really quick. Just comedy, like stand-up comedy, right? When somebody is shooting a stand-up film, a stand-up comedy film, right?
Right.
You have great directors shooting these films. You
Rob
literally
Zombie,
do.
did one of them.
Yeah, Louis C.K., like all these great directors are doing this thing,
Yeah.
right? They're not trying to get cinematic elements to direct a comedy show. They're not.
No, I know.
Because it's a comedy show.
It's a
It exists in its own form that doesn't need to be elevated with cinematic elements.
It went way
By-
off the
no.
rails, though.
By that
That's a
same
comedy
no,
special.
that's why it's its own thing. So by that same token, I think by trying to shove comedy into like a conversation, and I think it can have elements of comedy, but I think trying to say that a straight up comedy whose purpose is to get laughs out of dick jokes is not necessarily. Look, we talked
Oh,
about
okay.
we talked about when we talked about Everything Everywhere All at Once. I still hold my contention with that. If it had less dick jokes, it probably would have gotten this kind of higher bump in its value, in my opinion. You know, so like I think they're two different
I
things.
think time to change. I think people are a little bit more accepting too. Just
Well, yeah, for sure.
No, I see where you're hanging.
Let me just as an example, and I know we all have different feelings about this specific thing. I have a very hard time accepting that Superbad would get a Criterion treatment or an Academy Award nomination,
Even in 20 years?
even in 20 years.
Okay.
It would probably get an Arrow release.
So why
You know,
why
it-
would Dazed and Confused get Criterion treatment but not
Yeah.
Superbad?
Dazed and
I bet-
Confused is not a straight up comedy, and
Yeah,
it's not trying to
okay,
be.
I'll give you that.
That is a coming of age story where a fucking guy goes through an arc of not wanting to be a piece of shit senior quarterback,
Yeah.
but wanting to hang out with his friends and enjoy the summer. That's an art.
Okay,
You know.
would you ever consider a comedy to be cinematic?
Yes.
Yeah, sure. I think like we talked about Mel Brooks, like he contributed to cinema in a different level. I think.
Well, I know we're off the rails. Give me a quick example of one of his films then.
Well, we're gonna talk about Blazing Saddles pretty soon, but like I think for what Mel Brooks did to like parody, like to contribute to cinema, is what the Wayans brothers have been ripping off for the past 30 years, right? That was Mel Brooks' contribution to cinema way back in the 70s. That changed the game.
Okay.
This added to the game. I don't know that it like revolutionized cinema. It didn't. It just didn't.
Not so much revolution, but it definitely changed the game. Everything was getting too stale.
It changed the comedy game.
Yeah.
It changed the comedy game. It changed
I'm
the
trying to-
comedy
I'm trying
film
to think
game.
of other films
Nobody
Yeah,
is
like
going to try
please
to.
inform me if I'm not thinking of a comedy that can be regarded as this as cinema. Please enlighten me because
No, I'm saying,
I
like,
can't quite think of
I'm
one.
just saying, like, other films from that era
Yeah.
up have implemented comedy just because of that film.
I
They've
mean,
implemented jokes.
More.
They've implemented jokes.
Yeah.
They've taken the same
Yeah, the
jokes.
Coen brothers do
Yeah.
a lot. I mean, Wes Anderson does a lot. Taika Waititi is a great example for what he's doing right now. Jojo Rabbit can be seen as comedic, but it's a fucking arc, man. It is a contribution to cinema. It's a commentary, a social commentary on Nazis and history and how history is revised and how a kid's perspective is going to get. Like, that's my point. Like,
I'll give my last take on this.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
it is right. It is cinematic stuff. I think that you are just so
Pompous, pretentious,
no,
dickhead. Yeah.
I don't know if that goes into it, but I'm just saying like you're such a film nerd, such a you know
Traditionalist.
you're traditionalist. You like Martin Scorsese. You like all these stuff.
Dude,
Like, you
half
have-
of the
like, you have-
references I listed today are films that were released a year to 5 years ago. I mean,
I'm just saying like that's your style.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I just think that that's kind of like, I wouldn't say blocking you away from this stuff, but it's just like, you hold stuff so high in regard, like, you know, that this is like, oh, there's no way, but it's like, yo, this is pretty good too, dude.
But that's what
It's
we're
great.
saying.
I'm not saying it's not bad. I never said it was bad. I said it doesn't hold a candle to a lot of the great.
Finished.
Uh-huh.
I just
Yeah,
like-
sorry.
No,
You're
no,
right,
I'm
you're
fucking about. Because I'm trying to think. No, I'm saying like, it has influenced us, but I just don't want to see it. And I know like, oh, give me. I just don't know, but I've seen other stuff like, okay.
Look, in my opinion, when use this as more ammunition to say that I'm just like using my opinion for this, but it is subjective after all.
Mhm.
In my opinion, when something cinematic impacts you, I don't need convincing. You guys are trying to
Subjective.
convince me right now.
True.
When something is a cinematic contribution, I'm not gonna argue with you on it. Like it impacted me in a deeper mode. Superbad doesn't need that, and that's my point to all of this. That kind of point is what I'll make. It doesn't need to convince me on the cinematic note because I think it belongs in its own very special category.
Oh, dude, I just thought of a badass quote. I don't know if it fits.
Okay.
Gooba gaba, gaba gooba. There you go.
Yeah.
This is a Tupac quote, but I think
Mm.
he says in one of his
The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Go on.
But he says, I'm not gonna change the world,
Uh-huh.
but I'm gonna spark the brain that does change the world. I think comedy is part of that. Like, it's not gonna change this, this history of cinema,
mhm.
but it's gonna spark some things that are gonna change cinema.
Okay.
Not like
That's
big,
fair.
not big like lighting and
Yeah.
framing. But I think it has such a small element, like you
Yeah.
said, out of the box, that it has to be included in cinema.
Look, people use it very well. I think I talk about Louis a lot because aside from his stand-up, which I think is genius, I think his television show was fucking amazing on very different levels. To a certain degree, in the cinematic level,
And that's comedy.
yeah, it's a
But
comedy
it
show.
doesn't have a little sprinkle of drama.
Sure. It has a lot of heart. But I guess that's what I'm trying to get to is even that. I wouldn't quite categorize. I mean, TV's different. That's kind of a different conversation. It's
Yeah.
short form, right?
I
But
just feel like whenever we talk about like these cinematic masterpieces, it's a film that's usually taking elements that we've seen 1,000 times
Yeah.
and trying something a little different, and it has a heavier impact. And this, I can't say
to
that.
your
for
to
three.
your
Three for
point.
three.
Wait, no. To your point, because I'm willing to explore that with you.
I'm
To
not.
your point.
He's already clocked out.
No,
He's
no.
already jumped off the ball.
To your point of like, and I'm not saying you're arguing. It's fine. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah.
To your point of you saying I'm not allowing for something like this to
break into your.
I don't
to
know
break
that-
into my pantheon.
Okay, yeah.
No, yeah.
better.
I'm not allowing it. When cinema's undeniable, dude. Like when it's undeniable, it's undeniable. Like I don't.
But that's-
It's
that's
not
what
gonna
I'm
break
saying.
it. Like
I see the same
it's,
thing.
It's gonna
That's
break it
undeniable.
automatically. Yeah. It's
That's what I'm saying,
yeah.
Damn, this guy's a tough fucking.
No, I just don't
Okay.
know that I
I
would.
love it,
I
I love
would.
it, I love
I
it.
just don't know
I
that
guess
I would.
something fun to add in for comedy month.
Oh
so
yeah,
that way we
give
don't.
us some fun facts.
Oh,
dear
I was
God.
gonna say like if everybody has like a favorite moment or joke from like the film.
Every fucking like I could quote this movie to say what Gosh was. I could quote every fucking line of this film.
Which
Yeah.
is the joke you were like
Oh my
anticipating.
gosh! I think when they're in the store, and he says like, shit. What do you say? He's like, you,
How old are you?
no. When he's in the first scene of the convenience store when they're going,
Oh yeah.
find the Red Bull and sing that. He's like, I think he says something along the lines of, I don't want to go to college knowing I suck dick at fucking pussy.
Yeah,
like
he
that's
really cracked me
such a good fucking line. You know, like there's
think
everything in
of
terms
my
of these
favorite.
like comedic lines are great.
Yeah,
of
they're-
this fucking picture. They just are.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, right? That there's like these savants, even comedy savants, who like can whip up a script like this in fucking 3 months and like dish it out and make a good film, a lasting film. It makes me think about like when somebody spends 10 plus years on a script, like this is what you get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's hard to accept for somebody like me or somebody like a writer who just wants to get onto their next thing and really like
absolutely.
dig into something. But like these guys spent 10 plus years on this fucking script.
People don't forget.
People don't forget
Mr.
Mr. Dave Franco making an appearance in the film.
Young D. Franco.
I remember seeing, you guys remember, I think it was FX. I used to make those like little now presenting, and then they would have guests like talking about the film. Well, they had
Oh,
Seth
yeah.
Rogen
Oh,
and James
really?
Franco commenting on that. I
okay,
think it was around the time of Pineapple
I think I
Express
see
coming
that.
out.
I think I see that.
And Seth makes a joke like, "Oh, who's that? A mini Mr. Franco?" And he's like, "Dude, my brother like was so excited about that role. It was his first big
That's
thing."
awesome.
But yeah, Dave
That was his
Franco.
first one, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome.
Dave Franco coming out to
Yeah,
say,
more than one line. That's
"I
awesome.
was like 8 years ago, asshole."
People don't forget.
Yeah, I don't know. That's probably my favorite line.
There's some that I don't know if I should say. No.
You're quoting a film, Castro.
Yeah.
It's-
The
it's
Vagtastic Voyage.
the Vagtastic
That's
Voyage.
excellent.
Should go for more
Excuse
like
me.
Perfect 10.
Yeah, it's like a bowling website. It's good, man. It's good. It's good all around.
Which is your
Your favorite
I
moment?
love just when Fogel's being interviewed by the cops and they're like, "Oh, how old are you?" Old enough. Stupid.
old enough.
By the way, Mr.
party.
Dalao was a champ during this film because he was
Oh,
just
God.
like the
I already called
mold
it.
of Evan in this fucking movie that we're just turning to him every 5 minutes. And like,
Yeah, I mean, to the point that who was it? Was it you or Sanchez? I was just saying like, "Fucking Dello." in the
it
background.
was Eric. Yeah, it was Eric. Yeah, man.
But good to see it though.
You see
Man.
what?
that he kind of like a replica.
Oh,
A straight clone from.
I'm not gonna answer that question, you know. Anyway, Austin, favorite joke from the film.
or
Favorite
moment.
joke or line?
Favorite
Or
joke,
moment.
I was about
line.
to sing and it's like, he came all the way from Scottsdale, man.
Oh yeah.
One bump of cocaine.
Yeah.
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 You sing and you sing.
Oh,
David Krumholtz, who was in Undeclared, by the way, he was in Freaks and Geeks.
Who?
David Krumholtz, the one that like hugs him. The one I say could be
Oh, shit,
Scorsese.
for real?
He was in Freaks and Geeks.
oh really?
Oh,
He
the
was
guy
the
from Santa
older
Claus.
brother,
I'm
Sam's
trying
older
to-
brother in college,
man.
who like hits on the sister.
Oh
He
shit.
comes out of
Oh,
Freaks and Geeks.
I like the part when that guy who came in from where did he come in from?
Martin Starr,
Scottsdale?
the nerd
From
from Freaks
Scottsdale?
and Geeks. He's the dude with the fedora in that scene. He
Oh
comes-
yeah. Oh yeah. No, for sure.
Anyways,
No, I like the guy from Scottsdale when he's like, "Come on, sing like a
like
bird."
a bird.
Yeah, it's just kind of one of those.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
those like quick little like lines in the back. Those are my
Do you
favorite.
guys have a favorite moment, Jason, Eric?
Come on, Jason. What are you scared?
It's the Dick Notebook for you, isn't it?
Oh, of course. No, I think it's funny. Like it's funny. I still use that line. Like,
Which one?
how old are you? Old enough
Hold on.
to party.
Old enough.
You have
Which
lived
one's the one I
that
told you
with a
that I use all
cop.
the time?
Huh?
Which one's the one I told you you said that all the time?
Oh, when they're like, "Oh, you make me feel young again," or something like that. Like he's pulling out his cards.
Every
Like,
time that's
Oh, I'm feeling young again. Yeah.
I also love at the grocery store. And they just be like, that'll be $80, young man. All right,
Oh,
perfect.
ka-cha!
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
With the old lady.
What is
Good
that?
luck, your
Enjoy your remaining years.
Enjoy fucking Jules.
I will. Yeah, that's great. I used that whole big triumphant veiny bastard a lot. Like,
Yeah.
that was one time I was drawing this triumphant big veiny
Yeah, that's
bastard.
classic. There's one guy.
It's good, man. It's
But
great.
anyways, yeah.
Sanchez, any memorable ones? I'm trying to think like.
So, I'm bad at remembering quotes.
Yeah.
But as for the quote, I think my very she looks like she could take a dick.
I'm just complimenting her on her dick-taking abilities.
Someone like
I think my favorite moments in the whole movie is the cops and
Yeah.
McLovin.
Should we take some beer
McLovin.
It's
for the road?
hilarious.
They
Should we
say
take a beer
that.
for the road? Yeah, good
We get
idea.
13 beers.
We get
13 years, not even 12. I don't
Yeah,
know.
13.
odd number.
Like,
Supposedly that the cops were based on cops like that they knew growing up. But Bill Hader revolved his character on a cop that like would pick on him. Like Bill Hader would get arrested a lot as a teenager apparently.
Oh shit.
And there was a specific cop that would like act that way, and that's who he like. And then he says that after Superbad, he got so many offers for cop roles, guys. After this fucking film.
Yeah.
So
That's funny.
interesting.
No comment.
What's your favorite performance of the film, Guster? A role you'd want to play? You'd want to play the Seth?
Oh, that's a good one, dude.
We know who the Lao would want to play.
I'll go Bill Hader.
Oh, that's interesting.
Bill Hader, just the cool guy.
Yeah.
We will shoot you.
What did he say?
We all assume you have guns and crack.
We all assume you have guns and crack. What does he say? Get prepared to get fucked by the long dick of the law.
That was Rogan, though, man.
That was Rogan?
Yeah, Rogan.
Rogan has some great ones in there, dude. He wrote like. By the way,
Oh, wait,
that
wait.
role, with the Hader role or the Rogan role, I think it was the Hader role, was offered to Kyle Gass from Tenacious D.
Oh,
Really?
That would have been fun. Yeah, Kyle Gass,
what's the one where
KG, Kyle Gass.
What? But he doesn't play guitar. Well, I mean,
What?
What does that do?
What does that matter? He's an actor. Dude, Kyle Gass was an elf. Like he played a writer in Elf. Kyle Gass, yeah,
Oh.
KG.
But I thought Tenacious D before the movie and like they were the duo, you know, Kyle and Jack Black.
That doesn't matter. Like he was still an actor. He was still acting for money.
Fuck, I had no idea.
Yeah, like he was an elf, and obviously Tenacious D. They got to, but he's still doing roles like
The cable guy.
KG. Yeah, that's right. KG was in the
At
cable
the very
guy.
end when the TV goes
The
off.
Yeah,
He just grabbed the book.
Yeah, but that role was offered to.
I can't remember that. That means a lot.
No, yeah. It was nice.
I was the one with at the bar where he's like, he actually met his wife.
Right here,
His
this
bar.
one. Right in there. It's like we had group sex for my wedding night.
There you go.
I didn't participate in it, but I could hear it through the door. And it was,
Oh my god.
Any hot ladies want to see it?
but I love how his performance when he's like, my wife, who's a whore, by the way. No, we actually discovered that she was an actual whore. We caught her on the street. Yeah. There were some great moments.
Yeah.
By the way,
Oh.
fun fact. This is Eminem's favorite film of all time.
Oh, for real?
Really?
And there's a reference to him. There's like, you look like Eminem. Do you know who Eminem is?
Which part?
When they're like interviewing the chick, the convenience store lady. He's like, I got a veterinary exam.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
asking her
that's
like,
true.
it's
Yeah,
like, you know who Eminem is? He looked like Eminem.
Yeah.
And he used it like he used excerpts from the movie in like 2 of his songs. Most recently, like Marshmallows LP 2.
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
So like Eminem fucking loves this movie apparently.
Jesus, it's definitely cinematic.
Right, because
Also,
Eminem thinks it is the comic book loving fuck.
I guess my favorite fun fact from the film is that the Fogel character was underage
Yeah.
for the filming of this
He
movie.
was underage.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
He was 17. Mike.
So
Evan.
my bad. So the parents had to be there in the second.
Yeah, that's what they talk about. So what happens is that apparently for the sex scene,
He
if
had to
there's
be like, it's in there.
yeah,
with his mom present.
yeah, his mom present, and then the actor
No.
still talks about how his mom will never acknowledge that day, like
Yeah.
ever. Like,
Well, that's why, by the way, if you think
That's
about it,
hilarious.
there's also nothing extremely sexual going on in that scene. That's part of the rules
Well,
as a minor.
what's
Like there's
implied?
exactly.
it's just him hovering
Exactly.
over
It's
him.
implied, it's implied, but with Becca and with Evan, who were both of age, they get more into
That's
it.
true.
Yeah,
You know, so that's part of the reason.
Yeah.
Michael Cera, by the way, he was underage when they
Oh,
gave him
okay.
the script, so his mom had to read it. His mom convinced him to
The
do the
first
role.
part. Read the first
His
part.
mom convinced him to go for the audition. Michael Cera.
No,
Oh,
Michael
yeah.
Cera was 18, and Jonah Hill was the oldest at 23.
The Lao, did your mom have to convince you to watch this film?
Shut up.
Anyways, super bad. Final
Super
thoughts.
cool.
Super cool.
Oh, super cool.
Is
Super
that really
cool.
how it's translated to?
When
Yeah.
we were in
No!
we went to San Antonio, and we're
Fuck.
trying to watch this movie just to kind of
Super cool.
once we got there, and I guess the Netflix settings were on in Spanish, and it was called Super Cool. Like, it was the
Damn, dude.
funniest thing ever.
I also hadn't seen it at the time,
You hadn't seen it at the time.
and we had to stop watching the movie.
Like 5 minutes in, we had to turn it off because we were just quoting every single one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys already knew everything. That's where I told you guys, I'm like, I guess I have to watch it by
I
myself.
need to
and
watch it
you're
by
like,
myself.
Yeah, so I just sat alone.
But now you've seen it with us.
It's fun. Yay.
Yeah.
And you gave it a
Even though we looked at you for 90% of the film.
For comedy? I think I gave it like a 9.3, but I'll say a 9.5. Like, I mean, I think it's
Yeah.
a really, really solid comedy. I mean,
Yeah,
especially
it
on
is.
timing
It
and
definitely
everything.
is.
Yeah, and then for cinema, I went down to a 3. I'm sorry.
Hey, guys, so don't worry. I'm gonna edit the episode where it's be like, yeah, it's like a 9.5. And for cinema, it's like a 9.5.
You?
I don't think
Mr.
mine
Mr.
changed.
Comedy hating.
It's not even hating comedy.
Dude, it's so hard.
Stop
It's so hard.
But like
to
the
make a
next ones, you're
comedy
gonna hate
film.
us because I
Oh,
think the
for
next
real,
ones we're
for
gonna
sure.
like rate high as
It's
cinema.
so hard to make a comedy film, man, for anybody. There's
Oh
very,
yeah.
there's very few
People's humor
people, and
is
those few
different.
people like Judd Apatow, even him. I'm like, I don't think anything he did after Funny People was good. You know, like he did Trainwreck, which was okay at best, and LeBron James just fucking murdered that movie.
I love Bill Hader.
Bill Hader in that movie's fucking good.
I scored on LeBron.
Yeah.
I scored on LeBron.
Yeah.
But he did that new Bubble movie that I keep wanting to watch, but I keep thinking it's gonna be
Which one?
bad. It's called The Bubble.
The
It's
bubble?
about actors during COVID who have to stay in a bubble. It was a
Is
Netflix.
it with,
Dude, he produced the King of Staten Island.
He did produce that. You're right. Although he directed that too.
Did he?
I think he did direct that. That was actually a good film.
No, not Staten Island. It was
Yeah, with his face.
Silver and,
Yeah, they acted it, but he directed.
Yeah, he directed it, too.
direct
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
That was good. That was good.
Credit.
This is 40. That one was fun.
Oh, it was okay. Sandra loves that movie, but she loves Leslie Mann. Yeah, who's his wife, by the way.
I mean, we got Get Him to the Greek.
That's pretty good. I like that.
Brian
He directed
May.
that?
No, this is producing
Yeah,
after.
yeah, he
Oh, okay.
produced all that.
Were you talking about directing though?
Yeah, yeah, directing.
To
Yeah, I
Funny
don't mean
People.
producing.
You got Trainwreck. He did that show Love on Netflix, which was pretty good.
Love?
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
seen
Keanu Reeves.
No,
Love.
it was a show.
Oh, are you thinking of the one that's with Keanu Reeves? That's like that meme where he's like listening to
Yeah,
headphones.
right.
That's always been
Oh.
a maybe. It's a film.
Always
I
be a
mean,
maybe.
Yeah,
It's-
my
He really hasn't done any directed any movies outside of what we listed already after Funny People.
Would Broken
why.
Lizard Crew be one to talk about, or is that just like?
You know what I was?
I think
was
Beer
analyzing
Fest
this.
is
I was,
hilarious. Yeah.
I was analyzing this. Super Troopers might be thrown in that conversation too,
Really?
but Beer Fest is fucking perfect.
Yeah.
Beer Fest is fucking great.
Now one of my favorite comedies.
Yeah,
But according to you, isn't cinema.
it's not cinema.
Exactly.
Yep. I'd
It's
piss on
not.
it.
I'd piss on it too. I'd piss on it with the same beer they served me for that film.
I can read the headlines. Carlos de la Torre pisses on comedic
Yeah,
cinema.
bro, that's the title.
Michael Dello changes his name to Comedic Cinema. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm at the same man. I love this film. I will repeat it. I will watch it. I will watch it over and over again and quote every single line of the film.
AKA cinema.
And I'm glad we did it for Comedy Month, guys. Because outside of Comedy Month, I don't know that any of us would have suggested to do
Yeah,
this
that's
film.
true.
Let's be frank.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, join us next week for Airplane.
I wanna watch Detroit Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eric wants us to watch Detroit Rock City, which I've seen, and
It's great.
it's fun. And the chick is hot. Beyond that, she's cute. She's really
It's not
cute.
Kiss. That's-
She's
that's
she's
the-
like an Emmy winner now. It's fucking nuts. She's good though.
Anyways, next week, Airplane.
Next
Next
week on the
week.
WatchTower podcast, we're gonna talk about Mr. Michael DeLau's pick,
Airplane.
Airplane, starring
Kareem.
gosh, the guy from Pink Panther, right? What's his name?
The Naked Gun.
The Naked Gun guy. What's his
Yeah.
name? Leslie something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Huh?
And I've heard he's
I
dead.
don't know.
Which I didn't know.
You didn't know that?
He already passed away?
Yeah, he
I
passed
didn't know that
away.
either.
He passed away a couple of years ago, and it was super
Guys,
sad.
it has Kareem, goddammit.
It does have
Oh, yeah,
Kareem.
it has
He's the
Kareem.
pilot, right?
A lot of
Yeah,
people.
that's right.
A lot of
Kareem's in
people.
it?
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
What?
You know, I love quoting that one line from movie, I like my coffee like I like my men.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't pick Spaceballs, man.
No, well, it's a weird conundrum about our picks because we have two Judd Apatow films. I don't want to do another Judd Apatow. I don't want to do another Mel Gibson. Like,
Mel Brooks.
Mel
Brooks.
Gibson. I really don't want to do
Fucking
another
Braveheart for Comedy Month.
Passion
Passion of the Christ for Comedy Month. Man.
That's why I picked Airplane, because I was like, oh man, I would have done another Mel Brooks film.
It wasn't even produced by Mel Brooks. Why does that feel like such a Mel Brooks thing to do?
No, it's
Airplane.
it's earlier. No.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't know.
Which is the one where he has the puppet, Mel Gibson?
Mel Gibson?
Yeah.
The
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's
Apocalypto.
exactly what it was.
They were humans, Eric.
There's a puppet one?
I don't remember
I
a
know.
puppet one.
Look it up.
Intern.
Isn't it like the...
Harvey.
That's already.
He has a puppet in the film.
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie
Leslie
Nielsen.
Nielsen, yeah.
Oh, you're talking about I thought you were talking about.
And there's
that's the
3
guy in
directors for
Airplane.
Airplane. Jeez.
Oh, I thought it was Mel Gibson.
The Muppet movie?
No, he's like he has a like it was when he came back after all that happened to him.
All that shenanigans.
Yeah, all the shenanigans.
The Beaver?
The Beaver.
I
The
never
Beaver.
saw it.
Oh,
I-
he really?
You know, the
Oh,
only reason I knew that one
Yeah.
is because I
I
kept
saw
seeing the what is it called?
The
The
poster?
DVD box at like Blockbuster. Like that's the only reason I knew about it.
Well,
I
this came
remember-
out in 2011, so I don't think Blockbuster.
Yeah.
No,
dog,
it
what are you
was.
talking
No, it
about?
was.
It's
Because
Jodie
me and Sandra
Foster.
started dating in 2012, and some of our first dates were going to Blockbuster. So it was still around.
It's so nice.
I don't know how I feel about watching a film called The Beaver.
You do it all the time. Anyways,
Anyways, next
He
week,
has a lot more.
Airplane. in
We
2
need
weeks.
more women in this
Airplane.
podcast, man.
Anyways, next week, Airplane.
Next
in
week
2
we're talking
weeks.
about Airplane. And
We'll
in
be
two-
at the cafe in 2 weeks.
No, we won't.
Yes, we
Surely you
will.
can't be serious.
We'll be watching Blazing Saddles in 2 weeks at the cafe.
Surely
You do
can't
this
be
every
serious.
episode.
You just gotta say yes.
Just
to
You
just
just
trust
gotta
him.
go with
He's
it.
looking at
Okay. Anyways,
Any hoozles.
Airplane next week. Tune in,
Yep.
tune out, watch Superbad.
It's based on that
Great
film.
comedy. What film?
There's a film apparently that Airplane rips off of.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking place.
Thank you for tuning into the WatchTower podcast, and good night.
Hello, hit us with the dance.
Love you guys.
What?
Hit us
Hit
with
us
the
with
with
that.
Michael Cera dance. Hit us with the
No,
Michael
no,
Cera
no,
dance.
I'm not. No.
See, Gatsu could do it.
These eyes.
Not a butter press.
And we're out.
And we're out.
Ow.
Like a light.